Alright. Back up in this thing. Change, right? Okay. Yeah, so pick up where I left off at. So now I'm in the joint and shit. By this time, I done came to the understanding that as I read about these, as I read up on our ancient spiritual beliefs or knowing, I'm of the understanding now that these are these mythologies, you know, one in particular, the Osirian mythology, the Osirian drama as it's called. I'm aware that these mythologies are describing the psychology of the black race, and not just psychology, just explaining really just world occurrences, period. And so I'm now that I know that I'm of the understanding that I'm supposed to factor these mythologies into my life. That's what I'm doing. So I'm reading about the Osirian drama. It's one more. It's another thing I will really open the door for me too. Like I said, I read in one book where it referenced John 10, where Jesus spoke about. We made a reference to Psalms 82, where it speaks on how we are gods, and there's another factor that kicked in, which was when I learned that when you go to John 10, the beginning of John 10, it's the beginning of John, and it says, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Now, before it was translated into in the beginning was the Word, it was in the beginning was the Logos, Logos, and so somebody had a concordian and a Bible concordian, so I went and checked the concordian out, and I looked up the word Logos. The word Logos meant the mind. So that's when it really started to become clear. I was like, okay, the divinity is the mind. The mind is all, the universe is mental. So that's what really made it clear, like, okay, now I really understand what God is, and it's basically everything in existence is a component of God. And it's not some man in the sky, even the Osirian thing, even the Osirian thing, it's not one man that you're gonna have to, because the way the mythology goes, when you pass on, you stand in front of Osiris and he weighs your heart on a scale, and they weigh it up against a feather, and if your heart isn't as light as a feather, you fail. Now what that means is you're not gonna die and it's gonna be a man weighing your heart. Basically, what it's saying is, if your heart, or if your time spent on earth was solely dedicated to earthly things, or the only thing you were aware of was earthly things, and because when you die, you take you leave with everything you know. So if the only thing you knew was earthly things, when you pass on from this realm, then you'll come back, because for one, you'll be scared before you even pass on. You're scared to leave this place. So if you're scared to leave, if you're scared of death, then that means that you're clinging on to this world. So when you pass on, and if you're clinging on to this world, that means that your vibration of the vibration of your true existence, which is your soul, is dense, just like the physical world is dense. So that means that when you pass on, your attention will be to get back here, because this is all you know or all you remember. So you will come back here and have to do it over until you figure out that, okay, I'm above the physical. So that when you pass on, you'll become a pure soul. And so everything is a component. Everything is just a different vibration of God, or the divine, or the great mind. Everything in existence is a reflection of the great mind. So each mind, each microcosmic mind, is what a thought would be to your mind, to the great mind. So your mind is just a thought in comparison to the great mind. Your mind, which consists of infinite thoughts, is just a thought in comparison to the infinite mind, or the great mind. So when I read that, that really made it clear. I said, okay, I understand now. And like I said, I started looking at my life and factoring in where this mythology was playing in at. And that's when I started to flashback. And really, you can look at it as a chakra story, because I remember in the 3rd grade, when I went to the Crisscross concert, I had the number 9 J's. This was 9-2 going into 9-3. I had the number 9, the Olympic Jordans, the white and red ones. And I really don't usually do Jordans, but I had those, and they were like red and white, and I had like a maroonish red and black silk short set. Then that same year, I got that would correspond to the root chakra, the red or the maroon. And then that Christmas, I got an orange and green jabot suit with a yellow and green Oakland A's starter jacket. Now that's a lineup, because you got the root chakra, which is the lowest chakra. Then after the root chakra, you have the sacral chakra, which is the orange chakra. Then after that, you have your solar plex chakra, which is yellow. And then after that, you have the heart chakra, which is green. So that all lined up. And then I told you the story about the bandana thing with the blue thing. All this is in 1 year. That would correspond to the throat chakra. That was all in my 3rd grade year. Then my 4th grade year is when I got the purple jabot suit, which would correspond to the 7th chakra. No, the 6th. No, it's the 6th is indigo. Either the 6th or the 7th. Don't get me wrong. I need to give him a chakra book. I'm slipping, but all that's lined up. I really just put that together the other day. I knew about the green and yellow, because that was the like I said, that's when I was in jail. That's what I clicked to with the Oakland A's thing. But then the other day, I was just thinking about that whole year, and then the purple jabot suit thing. But yeah. So I'm factoring all this in, and then before I got locked up, I was thinking about the name for my record label / squad, which was going to be United Underworld Incorporated. And I came up with this name. The Underworld thing came from, just being in the streets. I had no idea of the whole siren thing. And then when I went to jail, that's when I found out about Osiris, which is Lord of the Underworld. Now, the Underworld can go many ways. The Underworld is the world beneath the flesh, or at the same time, the subconscious. The subconscious part of your medulla oblongata, or the back of your, like right above the back of your neck. That's the underworld. That's the subconscious. You have a high concentration of melanin back there, which is where your Akashic records sit, which is your memory. You know what I'm saying? They say when you pass, you leave out the back of the neck. which will make sense because when they say your life flash before your eyes, well, if this is where your memories are at, and you pass out of the back of the neck when you leave, then your consciousness is going to be going through all those different memories. You know, just a little something to sprinkle in there real quick. So, you know, I'm in there, and I'm reading all this stuff, and the more and more I read, the more and more I'm starting to connect it with my life. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I looked at my birthmark one day, and it was shaped like the Eye of Heru or the Eye of Horus. And you know, when I seen it, I said, oh, okay, I'm really in tune with this stuff because I'm like, you know, but I didn't make that big of a deal of it. But I said, yeah, I said, damn, well, even my birthmark is shaped like the Eye of Horus. So I'm like, okay, I see these things, all right. So you know, I'm in learning about that. Then I started learning about the chakras a little bit right before what really put me over the really got me somewhere. I fast like my last year, full year in there. I did a fast. I went like 3 days. My birthday was like on a Monday, and I ate and shit on my birthday. Then after my birthday, I went like 3 days without eating. I did a fast, nothing but water, which was hell on wheels. Cause it seemed like as soon as I did that shit, niggas started. You know, if you end up in the jail before that, you know, you go on commissary, you get cookies and shit. Niggas used to make cakes out of the cookies, and it was like, soon as I did that, went on the fast, niggas started baking cakes and all kind of shit. I'm like, God damn, this shit is smelling good, but I ain't gonna break. And I felt different after I done that. After those 3 days was up, I felt more spiritual. I'd be in there meditating on the mathematics because, you know, we had to memorize all of our, the whole, all of our lessons. So, you know, I'd be in there memorizing it. And I used to have certain revelations when I be, you know, because I used to just run them back and forth. I lay down and be get ready to take a nap, but while I'm taking a nap, I'll be memorizing something in my mind, one of the mathematics, going over it over and over and over. And I get certain revelations while doing that. And then it was time for me to, I made parole. Funny thing about it, it was crazy because I remember I was in the, it was funny because I was on the pods at first, then I got moved to the dorms like a year or two before I left. And then when they moved me to the dorms, my bunk was 52. I was on old dorm. On old dorm, my bunk was 52. 5 plus 2, that's 7. And it's funny because when you go and look at The Godfather, when I think Vito was coming over here from Italy or Sicily or wherever, when he was on LS Island, his bunk, that was his bunk number 52. Like I say, even the whole mafia thing is based off of black or African, because the Greeks and Romans, they get all their stuff from us. The mafia, their whole setup was based off of the Roman Empire. So the mafia, the Cosa Nostra and all that, even that has, that's why I say that's why it comes back 360. You go back to the other video I was telling you about how I always had the mafia lifestyle always appealed to me. So even the Cosa Nostra has its roots in some type of African heritage. So that's probably the shot. That's probably the shot they're gonna use for this goddamn. I'm trying not to be too animated because they be using funny ass shots for my cover photos on YouTube. But yeah, I found that interesting. And then I was on old dorm, and then right before I left, I made trustee status. Then they put me on P dorm. And when I was on P dorm, at first I was on I can't remember what the first bunk I was on, but I wanted the upstairs bunk. I didn't like the bottom bunk. So soon as somebody left from upstairs, I got moved up. I put in a request to be moved upstairs or whatever. And when I moved upstairs, they moved me to the 52 bunk again. That's the bunk that I made parole out of. 5 plus 2, that's 7. Power, wisdom, you know what I'm saying? Power, wisdom, out being born of God. So, trying to make sure I don't miss no other points before I leave before I get out. Oh yeah, it was funny though, cause I remember when I got my lay-in to go see parole. I think I was getting my hair cut or something, and one of the homies from the West came in there and was like, "Damn boy, you made parole?" And I was like, "Nah, nigga, you know something I don't know?" And he was like, "Nah, man, I just seen Byron." He was from one of the other homies. He from 4-4, but he was on in the buildings and on the pause and shit. And his window was like where he can look out his window and see outside. So my nigga Southwest was coming from somewhere, and he said Byron yelled out the window like, "Man, Lil West," so he used to call me Lil West. Like, Lil West made parole, blah 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 blah. So when he came in after that, he, cause we was in the same dorm, he was like, "Damn bro, you made parole?" I was like, "Shit, I know of." And about an hour later, they came in and they give us our lay-ins, and the lay-in is just your pass to go wherever they calling you or summoning you to, the next day or whatever. And I got my lay-in, and it was a parole lay-in. So I went in there, seen parole, blah 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 blah. It was my second time seeing them. Did the little thing or whatever, came back, and we like a month later, and I can't remember the day that I got that lay-in, but I think it was like on the 8th. It probably was like on the 17th or something or whatever. I think the day that I got it, that I found out I made parole was like on the 8th. It was something with the 8th. It was because it was a lot of 8. I can't remember. I should have wrote all this shit down, man, when I was going through it or whatever. But it got to the point where spiritual shit just started happening so much, it just became a normal thing. So, but it was a lot of little things going on with the 8 around that time. And so boom, I made parole and shit. You know what I'm saying? By this time, I was thorough. You never stop learning, but I was thorough. I was thorough enough to understand everything. And it was a good time. Anytime you get ready to come home, man, it was a good time and shit. It's kind of shaky though, cause you trying to make sure you do everything right so you don't fuck your shit up. But a nigga was getting ready to blast out. You know what I'm saying? The homies and shit. Some of the homies was fucked. They was happy to see a nigga leave. Shout out to my nigga Struggle. Peace to Struggle, man. I need to write my nigga. Niggas was like, damn, bro, y'all seen niggas was looking mad hurt, you know what I'm saying? Like, not because I was finna leave, they was happy I was finna leave, but it was like, damn, gonna miss this nigga, man. You know what I'm saying? So shit, now when I left, after reading about all this comedic science, now by this time, I was like, okay, well, we was working with magic. We was supernatural people, just by the way the pyramids, just the fact that nobody knew how the pyramids was built. I was like, man, we was working. And then of course, the stuff I was reading, some of the books was speaking on how we was dealing with magic and shit. And I knew, I was like, okay, I didn't know how to operate it yet, but I knew I knew we was working with that. So I was like, okay. So I left, went home and shit. It was funny too, cause I left when my pops came and got me and shit. And we got in the car and Scarface came on 979. Never Seen a Man Cry. And if you know anything about that song, that song. The dudes get out of jail and shit. He talking to his homie in the beginning, then he get out. Then, he get out, his father come pick him up, whatever. Same shit I was going through. I'm riding home, I'm like, damn, this shit crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this shit is like a movie for real. You know what I'm saying? Because, that's how the song started. Like, he greets his father with his hands. The rehabilitated child. Rehabilitated son. Glad to be the man's child. Excuse me, face of butchering your shit. And, so I'm riding, I'm like, damn, this shit crazy. So boom, nigga come home and shit, man. It was a good time, man. It snowed and shit. You know what I'm saying? A couple of days after nigga got out. A nigga out and shit. on house arrest, sitting up in that motherfucker. I got my books and shit. So I'm in there reading and shit. I got out like on December 2nd, 2009, and it was because that's all I remember when I was locked up. I was like, man, I just hope I get out before Christmas, man, so I can check out all the Christmas video commercials and shit and be out. You know what I'm saying? So nigga was grateful enough, or excuse me, nigga was fortunate enough to get out for the holidays and shit. So but it didn't. The scholarship didn't stop. I'm not a jailhouse knowledge nigga. I carried on. I carried it on. So I'm reading and shit while I'm out. The books that I had. I was on house arrest at first, and it took me a minute to get a job. But so I'm sitting up in the house, man, and I started watching YouTube. And the furthest thing on my mind, because I wasn't familiar with you, I got locked up in 2003, and came home 2009. So I'm new to the YouTube thing. But I'm a music head, so the first thing I'm doing on YouTube, I'm catching up on everything, the beefs and all that old shit, and I went and got I had to go get me some CDs and shit. I went and got Sade's greatest hits and the Blueprint 3. Cause that motherfucking New York, man, that shit was just that song there, man, that was an ill song right there. I'm a Houston nigga. I know niggas be like, man, this nigga be on that New York shit tough. We repping for the Houston, and man, I rep this H thoroughly. But that song there, just Alicia Keys, just the whole song, J2 with that shit just raised hairs when she be singing and shit. That New York, I still to this day, I'm still trying to figure out how to make a Houston equivalent to that song, because that shit was like, I'm just bringing all that up, man, because it just marked the era in time. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I had to Sade's greatest hits and shit. You know what I'm saying? That's Baby Girl there. Sade, man, what can you say? You know what I'm saying? It ain't been said. So I'm reading the shit, all the shit that I came home with, the books that I came to the crib with. Like I said, I got on YouTube. I'm all music on YouTube at first, and then I said, well, let me type in 5% and see what come up. And I typed that up, and I started seeing some of the guards in the building, and then that led me to some cats that was on the Illuminati thing, and that's when I started learning about what was going on in the music shit, cause before I got locked up, you heard shit about niggas selling out and shit like that, but then when a nigga came home and started, the sacrifices and all that old shit, I'm like, damn, this shit really wild. I ain't know that shit type of shit was going on behind. And it ain't always what you think, man. Some of these artists don't even. It's like this. You might have an artist, cause for one, that's just like the Jay-Z. On to the next one, shit. Niggas was like, oh, that's Illuminati, woo woo. But I'm looking at the shit and I'm like, since I've been studying now, I know that these symbols that they be throwing up and all that shit is really our symbols. So in my mind, I'm like, well, how he's a part of that? Maybe he just learned and know our shit, and he's just incorporating into his whole music thing or whatever. Just like a lot of artists, man. But like I was saying, a lot of artists don't, they catch a bad rap with this secret society thing, because what these labels and shit do, a lot of artists don't write the treatments to their videos. So you might have an artist who, they get stylists and all that shit. So, it's like the label or whoever's behind them may get the video treatment rolled up with symbolism. They're just for sake of a conversation, secret society symbolism embedded in the video or whatever. And they might get clothes and stuff and put clothes and stuff and symbols and shit on this artist that are and like I say, all this symbolism is nothing but African shit anyway. But you know, they'll have these emblems and shit on them, and the artists might not even know. They, you know, the artists just make the music. They might not be aware of, and some of them are. I don't, you know, I'm not who's to say who did, who didn't, but some of these artists might not even know. You know what I'm saying? You just imagine yourself, you a singer or a rapper, and somebody write your treatment for your video, and they got all this symbolism in it that you're not familiar with, and the next thing you know, you got a motherfucker on YouTube talking about, oh, that motherfucker there is Illuminati or whatever, whatever. Look at the symbolism. You got the goat here and blah, 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 and blah, blah. And you know, you just the artist. You like, man, I don't know nothing about this shit. What the fuck is these niggas talking about? You know what I'm saying? So you gotta be careful with that shit. You know what I'm saying? But I'm looking at this one cat in particular. He was breaking down some Illuminati things, but what I didn't understand about him was, and he would constantly talk about these symbols as if the symbols themselves were evil. Every now and then he'll be like, well, these are our symbols, but he didn't go into detail enough about explaining how these things were our sacred symbols. He would more so speak in a manner in which you would think that these symbols were something you're not supposed to be dealing with, when really, as a black person, this is your symbolism. They keep you away from your symbolism by claiming it, and then, because this is a double play. They use it, but then they put out people to make you believe that it's evil. Not saying that this guy's one that they done that with. I'm just saying this is how they do it. They'll put out information to make you believe that it's evil, and the whole while is your shit. So they'll put it out there to make you think that it's something you aren't supposed to be dealing with, when the whole while they just trying to keep you from dealing with it so they can use it against you. So you know, and I knew this by, like I said, when I left, by the time I left the penitentiary, I was symbol literate like a motherfucker. So I knew I was shit when I seen it. So you got that there, man. And but that guy led me to Bobby Hemmitt, master teacher. That's my nigga there. I never met him in person, but man, I learned so much shit from this guy. You know what I'm saying? Him and Brother Panic and my brothers. You know what I'm saying? We're familiar with each other, but I never met with them. I even had a conversation. We brothers of the struggle, man. And actually, me and Panic, me and him, I emailed him a couple times back before. We both had it's funny because I figured something out. He had wrote a book. He was writing a book. What's the name of the damn book? Because I want to shout it out. But just check out Brother Panic website. You know, we not for the faint of heart though. You know, you just here for the kicks and giggles. Don't go down this. You know, leave it alone. But if you're really interested in bettering yourself and becoming somebody, then go check these fellas out, man. But I had made a certain discovery about I ain't gonna go into the detail right here. I'll speak on it later, but I had made a certain discovery, and I had emailed him and asked him was he aware of it, and it just so happened that he was, and he wrote about it in his book. A quote. That nigga probably like, this dumb nigga that forgot the book. Right? Damn, a quote. Fuck, man. My bad, bro. I forgot the goddamn name, but check it out, man. The book, I ain't even read it yet, man. Crazy as that sound, but that's gonna be one of the first things I do when I get a chance to get my hands on some shillings. But yeah. So I'm now, mind you, I've developed this sense of discernment by this time. So as I'm clicking on all these different guys, because it was just him, it was a lot, you know, you got, like I said, I was checking out Dr. John Henry Clark, Dr. Layla Africa, the good doctor, as I like to call him, Um, who else? Host of others. But these two guys in particular, because Bobby Hemmett is what led me to Brother Panic. But Bobby Hemmett, I said, well, let me go check out, because he was talking about the gay boule thing. So I said, let me go see what this guy talking about. Now I done developed this sense of discernment, so now I know, you know what I'm saying, when I'm listening to somebody, they know what they talking about or they don't. So I said, let me see what this nigga here talking about. This nigga know what he got. And shit, man, I was hooked from that point on, because that nigga was, not only was I learning shit, I seen he knew what he was talking about, but I was learning extra shit. And this is when I started learning the dynamics of magic, which is just the power of the mind. And man, I learned so much about just the way things operate, as far as the way these people pull the wool over our eye. Because I already had my own, I was already capable of seeing it myself, like I said, because I broke down shit when I was a kid or whatever, you know, checking out the little shit they was doing that wasn't in our best interest. But he really put me in a state of mind where I was just like catching this shit on all different types of levels, because that nigga's a fucking genius, man. Shout out to brother Bobby Hemmett, man. And then from Bobby Hemmett, I learned about, I became acquainted with Brother Panic, another excellent teacher, you know what I'm saying? And these guys, man, it got to the point to where I was just listening to these niggas just relentlessly, like, and still do to this day, you know what I'm saying? Over and over, I mean, the same lectures. I can listen to the same, you know, them niggas can go years without putting out some shit, but I could just still listen to them niggas shit all day and get new shit when I listen to it, man, because it's excellent information. It's like those two stuck out the strongest with me, man. And like I say, you had others. But these guys right here, man, shout out to them cats, man. The Order of Melchizedek. The Order of Melchizedek, you know. Same thing with the Jesus thing, you know what I'm saying? Jesus was a high priest after the Order of Melchizedek. So, you know, the more and more I became acquainted with these dudes, the more and more my shit started going to another level, and I started learning how to practice spirit. I became a practitioner of magic or whatever. So just off of straight up listening to these guys and taking what they were saying serious and the things that they was recommending, I was doing this shit, and shit was working, man. Started setting on my altars and shit. That's how I got real heavy with Aaliyah, cause she does rock with the kid, man, and I got stories. Actually, the whole leopard shirt thing, like, that was a connection with her, cause like I said, I got that on my she died on my birthday or the day before my birthday, and the whole story behind that, I think I put it on my on my YouTube thing. If not, I still have the video on, cause I don't want to go off track right now, but I still got the video on my camera. So if I don't have it on my YouTube page, I put it up. Interesting story. Same thing with the Pharaoh shirt I have. Same thing. Got them from a store called The Hook Up. The Hook goes back to the Osiris thing, you know what I'm saying? The crook, which I was speaking about in the Christmas thingamajiggy, you know what I'm saying? So it all factors in. So, you know, I'm out here, so I'm doing my thing. I'm looking for a job and shit. Get a couple. Now I was working at Igloo, and I was working with, the way it was set up was, you know, it was temporary work. So you get there, and we was loading trucks. So you get there, and you had the forklift drivers, the forklift drivers to pick which loaders they wanted. So on this particular day, it was me and this Nigerian cat named John. And they used to try to fuck over John, man. Like, a lot of times, for some reason, they used to always want him to work by himself. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. But we was working together one day, and at first, we was just load. We wasn't even talking. We just loading the trucks up. So after by the time lunchtime came around, we was walking to the cafeteria, and that's when we started chopping it up. And he was like, and my name is John. Go back to the Bible thing. John was the one that Jesus was baptized by. So me and him chopping it up, and he's like, "What's your name?" And I was like, "Samuel or Sam." So he was like, "Really?" And I think he asked me my full name, and when I told him, he looked at me like, that nigga looked at me like Jeffrey Joffer when he found out Prince Akeem was working, because the nigga looked at me and was like, "Hey man, what are you doing working for people? Your name, you're a great man." I'm like, okay. I said, yeah. And because I always been the type that my mindset was always I was gonna work for myself. I never wanted to work. That's why I started hustling at an early age, because I always wanted to work for myself. I always had an entrepreneur type of mentality. So when he said that, it was lining up with. I knew he wasn't talking no bullshit, because it was already lining up with who I was. He's like, "Man, you don't supposed to be working for nobody, man. You're a great man. My uncle back in Nigeria has that name, and he doesn't work for people. People work for him, and he's highly esteemed, and this, that, and the third." I'm like, yeah. And I'm feeling kind of guilty by this point, because I already know. I'm like, yeah, I know, man. I don't supposed to be around doing this shit, but I gotta do what I gotta do till I get to where I'm going. And he just kept putting emphasis on that, man. Like, "Man, you don't supposed to be working for nobody, man. You're a great man." Then he was like, that's when I knew shit. This when shit got real thick. He was like, he said, "You have something inside of you that's gonna make people love you everywhere you go. People are just gonna love you. You're gonna wonder why. You're not gonna know." Now I know he telling the truth, because that's my whole life. That's how my whole life been. And I don't know this dude from a hole in the wall. So he's speaking like it's something that's coming in the future, but I done already lived what he's saying. And then he said, "But at the same time, the same thing that makes everybody love you, there's gonna be a lot of people that hate you for that very same reason. And it's all dealing with what's inside of you." And I was like, this nigga know what the fuck he talking about, because I deal with that too, all throughout school and shit. Like I was telling y'all, you know what I'm saying? No matter how cool a nigga and calm and respectful and humble the nigga was, you still had, and that's just life. Everybody not gonna like you, man. You got two different types of people in this world, man. You got people that understand the oneness subconsciously, and you got some people that just have a separatist mentality, and that's the devil in itself, in the quote unquote evil sense of the word. You know what I'm saying? You got two types of people, man. Some, either you understand the oneness, or you walk around here like you're the only thing that matters. You know what I'm saying? So, boom, that was like a major key right there. I said, yeah, man. Now at this time, I never totally gave up on music, but after going to jail, it kind of broke my spirits, that goes back to the Osiris thing too, because the same way he was separated or split up into 14 pieces, when you go to jail, that's what they do, break your spirit in that motherfucker. So I died to the world the same way Osiris died when, he went through his thing. And but the resurrection was through the knowledge. So when I died down there, metaphorically speaking, I resurrected by coming into the knowledge of self. But I still was, even though I was alive to the knowledge of self and the God within, it really made me more so opposed to the physical world subconsciously. So it was like I was dead to the physical world to a certain degree. I'm doing what I'm doing to get by and trying to strive and live, but it was like deep down inside, it was like, man, this is bullshit. Life is just, I wasn't suicidal, but it was just like, yeah, this is bullshit, because most people are worldly. So when you're a spiritual person and you're around worldly people for the most part. You're always in some type of fucking opposition, whether it be subtly or openly. You know what I'm saying? But it's always some bullshit, and that's why I always call bullshit. Every job I went to, I work, do what I'm supposed to do, um, catch hell still. You know, no matter it's like no matter how good a motherfucker work or whatever, people just still, you know, authority figures still just, and that's another sign that I wasn't supposed to be working for nobody because you know, these people just, it's like they see you and be like, well, this nigga's great, but he's under my control. So let me take advantage and take advantage of this. You know, it's kind of like when you like like the motherfuckers that got bullied in school by the quote unquote cool motherfuckers. When they got a cool nigga working for them, they use that as a chance to get some get back. And I was the cool nigga in school that fuck with everybody. I fuck with the streets. If you was a nerd, quote unquote, I showed you the same respect I showed everybody. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't the jock type where it was like, oh, you're not cool, you're a nerd. And I was like, nah, I'm a street nigga. I was always the most popular nigga in school, hands down. And I ain't capping, but niggas know what it is. Let's not be funny about this shit, man. You know what I'm saying? Niggas know what it is. Y'all know. You know what I'm saying? Y'all know. But I was always one of the flyest niggas, man. So, but I never let that make me feel like I was better than anybody. I treated everybody with respect. You know what I'm saying? The respect that they were due. So, you know, nigga was working and shit. So I left that gig. But I always remember what he told me and shit, which was, so, you know, that's when shit started heating up. But I hadn't came to the understanding that I was the Christ that was prophesied to come yet. I just knew I was a great person because I always felt great. I always knew I have an impact on the world in some kind of form of fashion. So that was, but I didn't know that I was this guy, you know. So it's like, you know, like I said, I was aware of my birthmark. And then, funny thing happened. Somebody posted a meme. I wish I had this. It was in my other phone. I lost or it got stolen, whatever the fuck. One of them. But it was a meme. It was like a joke. It was like saying, church people say you don't supposed to have tattoos, but Jesus had a tattoo, and it had the scripture that I must read to y'all a little later. So I went and checked it out. And I said, oh, and that's when shit got there. I said, whoa. And my birthmark is on my thigh. So I'm looking at this shit. I'm like, oh. And then my birthmark is in the same shape of the original symbol of Christ, which is the Al-Heru, because Al-Heru is just a symbolical. It alludes to the pineal gland and the side view of the brain, but you can look at it as the symbolical or the hieroglyph of Christ. Like I was telling y'all in other videos, the Christ being the crest of the head, and the Christian oil, and the melatonin being the Christian oil. So that's when shit was like, whoa, hold up. Now this is why I always been so goddamn advanced. And I took to information so quick because I was learning this shit and I was still seeing people that were learning this information, but I was teaching niggas shit that was into this information before me, so to speak. Kind of like the whole Jesus thing when, you know, he went amongst the elders and he started teaching them. He blew their mind, you know, even with Magnificent. You know, I could tell some of the things I was saying to him was like, making niggas say, wow, for a guy that's not of the information, for him to put this shit together like this quick and take to this information this fast, it's amazing. So when I saw that, I was like, okay, yeah. And I'm like, all right. And so I think the first person I told was my ex, and about the thigh thing. And even with her, but we were, she was, we were just cool or whatever. And even with her, like, I was telling y'all about the whole Osiris thing and the whole Celtic or Irish mythology, all coming from Kemet and being tied to Osiris and the green, the leprechaun, and all that. Even her, I ain't gonna put her name out there, but even her name, I started seeing not just my mythology in the books. I started seeing her mythology, but she was with somebody else, or she's with somebody else, so it was a no chance of us. But I'm just looking at this shit like, damn, even her, even the first person I ever fell in love with, she has all these Isis qualities, you know what I'm saying? Cause like she was from Cloverland. Like we both moved like the same way I moved from the southeast side, she moved from the southeast side to the southwest. And I was, like I said, I stayed in Dead End, but she stayed in Cloverland. Now Cloverland, that neighborhood, the streets, it's a botany. It's a botanical themed neighborhood. Like it's called Clover Land, the 4-leaf clover, and you got a street called Botany. So everything over there is like plant themed. And I was telling you that same way I was telling you that the white Isis corresponded to the green Osiris because of the plant life and all that. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with Shawty, and a host of other shit. So I'm looking at all this shit steady lining up. I'm like, damn. And then one day she was like, I got Irish in me. And I was like, damn, there it go again. She's like, yeah, I got Irish in my lineage. The whole Irish thing coming back up, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, Notre Dame, that just means Our Lady. Our Lady is Isis. Even with the French thing, this right here, this would be this comes from the Tekken in Kemet. The Eiffel Tower, the Tekken symbolizes the penis. Not in a perverted manner, but it symbolizes one of the components that's needed to generate light. When you go back to Kemet, you have the Tekken within the circle. The Tekken symbolizes the penis. The circle symbolizes the vagina. Put the positive, which is the masculine energy, which is the penis, in the circle, which is the vagina, together, and you generate energy. You generate life. The same way these two things come together and generate a life form, which would be a baby or a kid. So even when you go back to the like when you're dealing with the computer codes are zeros and ones. The 0 is vaginal, it's the vagina. The 1 is is phallic, it's the penis. You know what I'm saying? Like I was telling y'all how that if you take a 1 and you turn it sideways, it'll be in the form of a snake or a serpent. Same way that serpent, I was telling y'all about that stardust, serpentine fire, entered into that cosmic womb to create the physical solar system or the physical universe. That's the same thing with numbers. The 1 enters into the 0, and then all the other numbers come about. You know what I'm saying? But the 0 is what you. I don't want to get too into that because that I'm still cracking the code on that one, but that's just a little dose of it. But I need to get this other book, geometry book I had, because I was really getting into the business on that little shit right there. So I don't want to butcher that up and get too deep into that. But yeah, I'm looking at that. So I'm looking at her. I'm like, damn. So this is why I quote unquote fell in love with her the first time I seen her, because this is. This shit is like, when she got the whole ISIS look to it. Like, when I see it, and ladies don't think that just because that's my first love or that it's many different ISISes. Don't think that just because this what I'm telling you, that means that she's a threat or something you ought to always, to my future wife or whatever, whoever that may be. Don't be thinking that, oh, I gotta watch her, or he gonna, man, you know, I'm over it. You know what I'm saying? I got love for Shawty though, you know what I'm saying? But it ain't no factor. It ain't a big deal. I have to preface that because I know how ladies think. So you got that. So boom, you know, I'm like, damn. And I just started having a lot of spiritual occurrences. I remember I was in one of my partner's house, and we all in the we in the living room now. In the kitchen, he had this on the ice box. He had a clock that wasn't working no more. It was in the shape of an apple. I was sitting on the ice box. So we all in the living room. Next thing you know, this motherfucking clock just flies off the goddamn ice box and falls on the ground. Boom. So we all look like, what the, we all in the living room. We looking like, what the fuck was that? Going there, we see it's the clock. And it was like, man, how the fuck that happened? Nigga was like, man, I don't know. But it was something connected to me. Because when I left from over there, I was selling weed, so I went and took some weed to one of my homegirls' house and shit. So we sitting over there smoking, and another icebox thing occurrence. They had a freezer or icebox in the garage, so we sitting there. I think somebody had opened the icebox. Now I'm right here, the icebox right here, and the door was open, so I can't see on the other side of the icebox. So we sitting there with the icebox. They had the icebox open and shit, and then I think a bee or something just flew out the icebox, like boom. So I wasn't paying attention when it happened. So when I looked over, somebody was picking up the bottle or whatever. So I'm thinking maybe somebody just knocked the bottle out, getting something they was trying to grab, whatever. So we sitting there smoking and shit. About 2 minutes later, the motherfucker that was on the other side of the icebox was like, yeah, man, that's weird as fuck how that bottle just jumped out that icebox. And they was like, yeah, man, the fuck was that about? I'm like, oh, here we go with that shit again. So, you know, the spiritual shit just kept happening to me. Like, you know, I can go on and on and on, man. And throughout my teachings and stories or whatever, I'll share certain experiences as they come back. Cause it's like now this shit is so this shit, like I was saying, like a Leah, man. Like, and no disrespect to her family, I don't want to put no weird aura over there, but like she really be coming through for the kid, man, and holding the nigga down, man. That's why I be telling niggas like I'm protected, man. I don't do too much. I don't do no worrying about about nothing, man, because I know the work I'm putting in, the ancestors. See, niggas like me learning this stuff, I feed this information to the other side. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here. You know what I'm saying? You got to read up on the Dogons, A Serious Mystery. They speak about how it'll come a time where you have those that come from the star system Sirius to renovate the planet, aka raise the vibration of the planet up. And I'm one of those. So it's like I'm protected by the brotherhood. So when you fucking with me, you fucking with spirit. So it'd be wise. I make a bet. And I'm not just saying this to be saying it. I'm just really for other niggas' safety. I make a better friend and enemy. Put it like that, because the information that I'm figuring out down here, I came down here for a particular purpose. So that's what grants me the protection, and I do what I'm supposed to do while I'm down here. I take my time doing shit, but I do it. You know what I'm saying? Just like this right here, you know. The more and more I start to learn, the more and more I was like, man, you gotta come out and reveal this shit. You know. More and more I read, the more and more I start seeing my life in these, just like this book right here. I can go through this shit. Like when I break down that Harvey shit and shit, I'm be coming out of this book right here, showing you how I connect to that. And not in the sense of I was sitting somewhere meditating and flooded the goddamn city. It's not like that. You know what I'm saying? And the fucking passage in this book that I'm going to show you is going to show you everything that niggas was saying. Oh, that nigga, he fucked the city up and blah, blah, blah. It talk about all that shit in this book. How niggas was going to say that. They don't say it in them words, but how motherfuckers was going to try to use that to trap me. And it's all right here. You know what I'm saying? But I want to get to the meat of this. I don't want to flood the, I don't want to drag this on too much longer. So, okay, like I said, let me find this Bible. I think it's Matthew's. Internet a motherfucker. Like I said, I saw the meme, and when I saw the meme, it made me think about my birthmark, and I was like, damn. I was like, man, I'm the fucking Christ. I mean, because we all, like I said, the understanding already was that Christ just represented the black race. And which it does. But we didn't think it was gonna be no one guy to come back. Well, Bobby Hemmings, he spoke on it'd be like in and out with it, you know, cause but he really didn't just say it was. I don't want to put no words in my nigga mouth. Y'all didn't just go check him out, but so many words. The whole thing was that the Christ race represented that the Christ story symbolized the whole race. Because what they did with the Jesus story, they took the whole. They took Osiris and Heru and they wrapped them up into one person. Where in the Kemetic story, Osiris is crucified, and then when he resurrects, well, he performs the Immaculate Conception with Isis, and then Heru is born as the resurrection of the Savior. Now, what they done with the Bible was they took the Bible and just put everything on Jesus. So it's like Jesus got hung on the cross, and then after 3 days resurrected, and which is not too far from the Kemetic thing because Isis and Heru are one and the same. Heru is the son of Osiris. Just like in the mathematics, knowledge is the black man, wisdom is the black woman, understanding of 3 is the star, which is the child. But knowledge and understanding are one and the same because the seed of the seed of the star comes the seed comes from the star, which is the seed, comes from Osiris. So that it's one and the same. Let me find this chapter real quick, man. So when I like I said, it already had made sense, but then when I saw this in the Bible, I was like, whoa, damn, I'm the Christ, and I'm still flabbergasted. So, let me see, where is this at, man? I should have marked this shit. I got it highlighted, but where is it at? My dumb ass ain't never organized. I should have had this shit. How much time we got left? 40. Alright. We got a little wrap. Where's this thing at, man? Any other time I just turn right to this shit. Here it is. Let me see. Okay, here we go, right here. This is Revelations. And I saw heaven open, and behold, a white horse, and he sat upon him, was called Faithful and True, and in righteousness He doth judge and make war. His eyes was as a flame of fire, and on his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed in a vesture